Hey everybody, I'm Joe Killinger. I'm a real estate investor and entrepreneur, and we put these videos together every week to give you all the tips and insights from my experience over the last several years. So make sure you tune in and subscribe, and thank you. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. I've got a very special guest today, a friend of a long time. I've been after her for I don't know how long to come on and really talk about small businesses. And, you know, with the pandemic, I think that we're finding that, or I know that we're finding a lot of small businesses are struggling. Julianna this is what she does. She helps small businesses get started, or in this case, restarted it? Wow, losing it today. And so I asked her to come on. And so Julianna, thank you for coming on today. I really think that you offer so much value to our listeners. Why don't you give us a short, who you are, what you do, where you do it?
Yeah. Well, it's so fun to be on this with you. And yes, you've been chasing me. I accidentally had a baby between the last time that you asked me to do this and now. So I apologize for my delay, but some
people do anything to get out of this.
I was like, I really don't want to get back to Joe, so I might as well just have this second baby. So I think, by no means am I an expert, but I do have the experience of working with many small businesses in many different industries. That's what I have been doing for the last 4 or so years. Also coming from a background in nonprofit. So I definitely have seen what it looks like to struggle and to figure out how to bring in revenue when it feels really daunting. And my last part of my career, I've been working with small businesses, which I think are the heart of America for sure. These are people who have poured their entire life savings sometimes, their heart, their energy, their sweat, their tears, all of it into realizing a dream, which I think is what all of us hope to accomplish, right? To bring something to the table that we have a vision for and want to see it to fruition. And it's not easy. It takes a very unique, special, resilient person to be an entrepreneur or to be a small business owner. And that's the truth. There's so many hurdles that you have to overcome and so many unknowns going out on your own. And so I always think that they're some of the bravest people you can encounter. It's also a situation where you have to understand in a normal setting, outside of a pandemic, it takes a lot of resilience, a lot of heart, and a lot of mental power. And so I think as we're really talking about this today, I think we need to really frame it within the context of this pandemic and the mental health struggles that people are going through. Because it's one thing to know that your business is struggling when everything else is when the world feels like it's more normal. It's a whole other thing when there's a pandemic and there are so many other factors at play, personally, professionally, and societally, that really weigh on someone as they're trying to tackle these things. It's really daunting when you're looking at your numbers and realizing, or your bottom line, and realizing that you're not cutting it. And it's even more so, I feel it can be very paralyzing in a time like now. Just think about the little tasks that we do. I mean, grocery shopping feels overwhelming at this point. And so I think we really need to take that into consideration when we're thinking about how we can help these businesses or give them opportunities or ideas to get them out of it. And I really think it's one step at a time. I think what's really important is looking at their numbers and really understanding looking at their P&L and really understanding where they are. Before you can even start to market yourself or think up new ideas, you really have to know what your resources are in order to do that. Would you agree?
Plan for the future. I mean, being in commercial real estate, we'll talk to several small business operators around the country. When you sit down and you say, listen, we need to look at your business plan, your P&L, and you need to look at exactly what is, financially, where are your vendors at? Are they going to be able to help you? Is your landlord going to help you? Are you on this on your own? And maybe they won't help you, but you need to know exactly where the money is going to go. How am I going to hire? How am I going to market myself is what we tell them. And honestly, Juliana, a lot of them just sit there with this blank look on their face, like, okay, I've been so down in the dirt with this that I haven't really thought about that. And I think that's where, you bring so much value telling these people what exactly they should be looking for. And I think you're right on. The business plan, the P&L, you've got to start there.
Well, it's like my dad always said too, right? You'll never know unless you ask. So, and
Right.
the worst thing that someone could say, the landlord or their vendors or the people that they're going to ask kind of for some help on this, the worst they can say is no, right? But if they might offer you solutions, they might offer you plans that can help you through it. And I think what we really have to look at is, and what we can look at a business and the person who's running it is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Until your basic needs are met, you can't even think beyond that. And right now we're so stuck in this trying to meet our needs, trying to pay the bills, trying to pay our employees. And a lot of times in small businesses, employees become like a family. And so it's making those hard decisions and knowing when to have to let people go for the time being in order to kind of even out to be able to bring people back. But it's the last thing I'm sure people want to do. But it's those tough decisions that you really have to look at before you can start thinking from a higher, more big picture level. But I do think you're right. I think going to your landlords and your vendors is a huge important thing because again,
it is.
Some money is better than no money for everybody, right? And especially if you can rework your lease or rework your terms, then you might be able to get a little bit more cash flow to be able to promote yourself in other ways. And I think for small business, really when we talk about marketing themselves and how to kind of get things going again, the great thing about marketing people, it's promoting yourself and getting new customers. It's also keeping your existing customers and teaching them how to interact with you. So it's not just, if you offer everything at a discount all the time, then you're teaching them that you're always going to be the one that offers a discount and they're never going to want to buy you full price, right? Or they're never going to want to pay you for what you think the real value of your commodity is. And so I think that as you're looking at marketing, it's really understanding what are my value propositions? How can I beat out competition? And what can I offer people? And then teach them how to keep engaging with me and kind of build a community. I think what we're looking for, especially right now, is a sense of community. I think everybody is across all landscapes. And so how can you really tap into that and leverage that? Because we all need it. And so how can you offer that to people through whatever service or industry that you're in? I think that's a big point that we could look at.
Yeah, I mean, I know so many people that are really just trying to shop with small businesses. They don't want to go to the Walmarts and they really want to give it to them. So we got to create the opportunity for them to go out and find us. And so, if you're brick and mortar and you've relied on foot traffic, you have to get online as fast as you can. Don't you agree?
You have to. And I think, so an easy entry point for people would be social media, right? And again, there's still ways to promote yourself through social media, even though the algorithm and those rules are changing constantly. And there's probably going to be some big changes happening, especially with Facebook and how they collect data. But there are still ways that you could promote yourself on those sites and break even. Like you can spend enough money to make money back. And a lot of times you can make more money, especially from e-commerce businesses. But that's something that you could find a skilled person to help you with that. I think and you can also run it yourself and just be really smart and really keep an eye on it. But I think websites, yeah. Telling your story, if you are a business that still is able to have people come into your business, on the front page, list all of your COVID protocols, like make people feel safe, give people the opportunity to engage with you on that level first, so then they can dive deeper. I think that a website, there are a lot of wonderful platforms out there right now that can make it, you can pretty much do it yourself and come up with a really beautiful website, right? And again, I think doing a little bit of research to know which platform is best. I think if you're doing any sort of e-com or selling online with your business, Shopify is great because it's very user-friendly. You don't have to know a lot about computers. It's not very daunting. There's good customer service. And then if you're a little bit more versed, you could go to like a Squarespace. Again, a beautiful platform, but it's a little bit harder, I think, on the back end. But it's just really understanding what your needs are And then what's great about having a website is that those websites all have the ability to really capture a lot of metrics for you that you can leverage to help grow your business. So you can see who's coming to your site, how often, where they're coming from, all of these wonderful things that can then help you go back and promote yourself to those people. A lot of times you can even break it down to segments, like what is the age range of people that are traveling to my site? Is it more males, more females? So it's really, you can grab a lot of information that you can then use. And it's a great way to create a community for yourself that, because we don't have the in-person community as much, you can create it online.
Well, I think people are so starved for community right now because we've been locked in our homes. And, get your story out there. Tell everybody who you are, why you're doing this, what you're doing. And on those analytics, they're key. They can really help you drive business. And a lot of people don't understand that if you're driving a certain 35-year-old female to your site, that's mostly what's looking at, then who your target is. You've got to be looking at those analytics.
Yeah, you know who your target is. You know which of your products you need to elevate. Maybe you know which of your products you should start investing more into and buying more inventory. You know now what language you're using to communicate, right? And I think that's the biggest part of it. And while you can be focused on one consumer set that's coming, you can still at the same time grow and expand. But if you know that your main customer, 80% of the person coming to you is that type of person, then you can keep talking to them so they're coming back. And that's why this all exists, is to help especially small businesses. Even things like investing in Google AdWords. It's something that you can Google, get a little tutorial on, or there are a lot of people out there doing online marketing that could help you. Sometimes they'll give you a sliding scale. Sometimes they just charge you like a percentage of your sales. But Google AdWords is a great way. So if someone's typing something in, your business is the one popping up. And that's just even being knowledgeable about which words to use on your website, right? So then those keywords will then populate when someone's searching your industry. I think some of these things take a little time, especially if you already have an established website. It can feel daunting to have to go back in and edit. But again, the time that you can spend on this to get yourself in front of more eyes will just help you in the long run. And it's a to-do list, right? It's the baby steps. It's like taking, even if it's one thing a day, one thing a week, to get yourself at a more optimized level to reach people. Because to your point, it's people are searching for it. People are interested in going to their communities, being able to give back in that way with their dollars if they're going to be spending. And so it's really, really capitalizing on that. And I think, especially like in a multi-use building, right? Or a building with multiple different tenants. How is there a way where you can kind of band together, where you can cross promote? How can you reach out to those people around you that might not even be in the same industry, but you can somehow find some sort of link to promote each other's businesses? Again, it's this creating of community in a time where we're lacking it, and finding those synergies that we can share with other people. That I think that are really important. And another thing that people, I think, it's so funny, I'm working with a business right now and she has a little resistance to it because I think it feels antiquated, or I think we've just been inundated with email. But email marketing is something that, again, you can use. There's all these different platforms, MailChimp, Klaviyo, whatever works best for you, where you can even spend a week, write a ton of emails, and then time them out so you don't have to send them all, so you don't have to think about it every week, right? It can feel daunting to have to come up with something else. But you spend a week, write a ton of emails for a month, and then schedule them out. So they'll go out at different, one a week. And email marketing is a great revenue stream to bring into your business because it's passive. You can engage with your community in a way where they're ready to open it. You can add promotions in there. You can do coupons to get people in. It's a great way, and people are still engaging with it, even though it feels like it's not like the flashy, cool new thing like a social media post or something like that.
Sure, yeah. But the analytics are there too. Exactly. I mean, the analytics are so strong there. Firm believer. I want to go back to your what you're saying about working with the retailers working together. I really think landlords should take a look at it too and see how they can help their retailers, because if I own property, I'm doing myself a huge favor and my tenant by helping them out. So if I've got a nice parking lot that I can create a nice drive-through lane that my retailers can come pull up, or create something in my building that makes it easier for my retailers to be successful, or even office. I mean, you want to figure out a way to make your tenants successful. And people are doing some amazing things. What was that?
Successful and feel safe.
Yeah, exactly, because that's the key right now. Reviews, that's something that we're a firm believer in. Do you find that is a huge success for every retailer?
Definitely. And any email or any marketing online marketing person that you work with will tell you, like, reviews are huge. To have reviews populate on your website are huge. I mean, look at it. If someone's upset, they'll go to someone's social media page and leave a comment. Being really active about respond, because that's a review. So being really active to responding to comments, responding to DMs, getting those reviews and populating them on your website. Maybe even you take an email and it's an email of our best reviews yet, and it's like a couple of key snapshots of what people are saying about you. It's right. Super important, because we care what others think, and others will listen to that, and they might engage with you or not engage with you based on that. But I think reviews are huge.
Yeah, review. Now, you do your Facebook page, Google, Yelp. Is there any place else you do reviews? That's about it, right?
That's about it. Yeah, that's about it, I would say.
Good. Developing it, we're talking about the business plan. One thing I think is probably key is developing a timeline, because you can't do it all at once, right? You've got to kind of figure it out. Do you put, I was talking to somebody yesterday that just launched a new business, and it's not going to launch they're doing all the tenant improvement work right now. It's going to take about 6-7 months, but they're already hiring a marketing person. I thought, man, that seems, before you can really, they were talking to some pretty high dollar people, and I'm like, man, that's a number that's going to be on your bottom line that I don't know that I'd be starting for 3-4 months down the road until I knew that I was going to be able to start driving people to the property, because they could build the front out, they could start showings and that. But do you have a specific timeline, or how do you kind of gauge it, or is that just too open of a question?
My only question would be, what type of business was the business, without you divulging too much? Like, what type of business?
It was a vocal, teaching singing.
Oh, interesting. So it's not even like there's a commodity that they could purchase now without a space.
Correct. Yeah.
It was like Zoom, unless it was like lessons through Zoom.
Yeah. They've been doing that, and it's been doing well, but obviously,
well, yeah,
you're listening to the phone
it's a couple things, right? I think it's finding ways to adapt and pivot during this time, which that would be like, teaching your lessons on Zoom versus in person. I also think it is about being smart. I think a lot of times you can get really enticed by the really flashy, really well-known marketing company, or, they have all these great ideas. But to your point, it's really understanding where your business is and what you can afford. Because at the end of the day, you definitely have to pay to play, right? And you have to pay to now you have to pay to be able to gain a new set of followers or viewers or people, clients, but you have to just kind of know where you are. You don't want to run before you walk, right? Like, you really have to build slowly. And unless those people are offering a sliding scale, or again, offering maybe they're charging you a small amount and then taking a percentage, which is also easier, right? Because then that's enticing them to bring people in, right? So I would just be really, really, to your point, really clear, and almost like you do a cash flow statement. You should do like a flow of work statement where, you're right, you can't do it all at once. And a lot of it, if you need the cash to be able to do it, then you can kind of section yourself out and set benchmarks for yourself. So, okay, by the end of Q2, I want to be able to do this. And so what do I need to get to that? Then by the end of Q3, I want to invest more inventory in this area. So then I need to make this much, and I need to toggle this. And being really just checking back in with that document to know where you are. Just like you should be checking in with your P&L, I think at least weekly. Again, I think numbers can feel daunting. Numbers can feel scary, especially when the number is a negative. But knowing where you are is the only way you'll know how to get out or get up. Or if you're like, oh, I'm actually not doing that bad and this is what's working for me, then invest more time and energy into that. I think if we're kind of too scared to look under the covers to see what's going on, then we can lose a lot of traction, or we can get deeper in the hole without even realizing it.
Yeah, we saw a lot of people taking PPP money, and they were just taking the money with no real plan. They just thought, okay, I'm going to be able to do this, but now they're running low on money, and they're like, well, wait a second, my business is still down, now what? So when you do get money, you've got to really, and this is a large percentage of small business operators have been doing this, and they've just been saying, okay, this is going to keep me alive for X amount, I should be good by then. Again, I keep coming back to create a plan. Know where every dollar you've got, if you got 10,000, 20, 100, whatever the number is, make sure you know where every dollar is going to go. And I was guilty of it when I first started with my business, and I'm like, wow, I'm just thankful to have that money and spend it, but there was no real long-term plan. And I got lucky that, I didn't have a pandemic that I was fighting my way through when I was starting.
Right.
And that is
getting those loans. It's also knowing if and how you have to pay those back, and putting that in there first, right? To understand what you need to actually be able to take the money. I think to your point, when you're in such desperate need, you're like, oh, I got the money and now I'm just going to, but you have to really know why you're spending it, how you're spending it, and how you're going to make that money back. How is that money going to make money for you? The only way you should take a loan is that if you know how that money is going to make money for you, not just pay your bills. Especially right now.
Because a lot of people took money thinking it was free money, and is it going to be taxed? How much? What's going to be the end game with that money? So there needs to be a real plan. I want to get on to mental health in a second, but I want to take. I really think there's something we need to touch on is as you're building your business right now, you need to be creating a contingency for what if. If the biggest two-letter information and fantasy. What if we get this pandemic back again? How are you creating a contingency plan? Are you seeing people out there creating contingency plans for that right now, or are you seeing people just trying to get going again?
I think it just depends, right, on where they're starting from. I think if they've been able to survive a little bit, like I'm working with this one business, and she's been doing phenomenally well because she has an evergreen product that is needed at a time like this that students and teachers and parents are looking to help their kids, right? So it's this product that's been actually able to help people during this time. And so she's been consistently successful month over month. But she's also a very keen businesswoman, and she's been planning. She has a contingency plan for what if, right? And I think this pandemic has been the biggest what if, and we're still in it. Like I get that we all think there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but we don't know if that target is going to move. And so I think you kind of have to. We all thought we were going to be in this for 2 weeks, and it's been a year. And so I think we have to assume that everyone thinks we're going to be out of it by the end of summer. You kind of have to assume that we're going to be in it for another year. And to your point, plan for that. I think planning for the worst or planning for the most difficult challenges you can have, and then it's so much easier to pare back, right?
Yeah.
And open that up versus planning for the least amount and then having to try to play catch up. And if you're playing catch up, we all know in any part of our lives, it's one of the most stressful, hardest things to do because you can't focus on anything else.
Lots of sleepless nights. That's right. All right. That's a good segue into the mental health aspect of this. I'm seeing a lot of people, they're really down on themselves right now. It's hard to get up and get going, right?
Yeah.
Are you seeing that? We've seen some of it, but I'm seeing, and especially the last few weeks, we're seeing people that are more positive. Now, being in Los Angeles, we're just opening back up. People around the country, Texas, I've seen operators.
We have sunshine. That's a huge part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not many people are going to get set outside on their patio with their dog running around this time of year, which, by the way, your dog is very cute. You know what? That's also another good thing. If you're locked, it's wintertime and, you're stuck inside and your business is struggling, it can play a lot on mental health. Are you seeing people actually reaching out to you about what to do because of that? Or are people just kind of I'm going to get through this no matter what, or what are you seeing out there?
I think it ebbs and flows, because I think that we all experience pandemic fatigue at different times, and I think that's really what it is. I think that there are some days where, even in my marriage, there are days when one of us is like, yeah, we can do this. And the other one's like, I don't know. And, and hopefully you're not both at the I don't know place at the same time. But I think what this has also done in talking back to the idea of community, I think people are more willing to be more vulnerable and be more honest about their struggle. I think that when we're collectively struggling, we're collectively going through something. It's not just us, right? It's all over the world. Everyone is experiencing this extremely traumatic unknown. And so I think that it is definitely something that people are more willing to talk about. And I think it's almost necessary to talk about, because again, if you're just thinking that you have to just put on a brave face and push through, you're going to break. And I think what you need to do is lean on the people around you during those times in order to help clear the way and kind of help you make a plan, right? So I think that's making a plan on all levels. Making a plan that, what if you get sick? If you're the small business owner and you have one other employee, I think it's really thinking through and having grace with yourself while you do it, because even thinking through that can feel overwhelming. But really starting to kind of even making a list and thinking about, if this happens, and I'll do this. If this happens, and I'll do this, so that you can refer back to that. Because I think when you're in that moment of fatigue or you're in that down moment, it's really hard to remember all those ideas or positive thoughts or ways that you think that you can get out of it. And so I think making a list and having something to refer back to, opening it up to other small business owners. So to your point, you mentioned the new platform like Clubhouse, right? Finding a forum like that where you can share your story. Also, it gets your name out there. It gets what you're doing out there. And it's a way of networking, finding ways to network, finding ways to engage with others on all levels to bring people back. If someone might hear you on that and think, oh, I want to check out that business because that person was so honest and had some really great things to say. And then it's that cross promotion that we're talking about and that networking.
Well, I think even since we're on Clubhouse, I think if you find a reason to get on there and invite all of your clients or your customers and have an open conversation with them, open it up to them, let them speak, it's a great way to get to know people around the country and in your community. So I really believe, finding your community is key, and communicating to everybody what you're going through, because we're all going through it. I'm just starting my business back up here in LA. I'll tell you right now, being in commercial real estate in the last year has been, I have a little gray hair now. I wasn't there a year ago.
You look good as a silver fox, though. It's a good look.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Coloring it in to give yourself a little bit more.
I need to, right? But my family might call me out on that. But yeah, we're all going through it. So I really think it's communicating to everybody else, because we're all going through it too. And, I just think opening up and having an open dialogue with your customers, how are you doing, talking to them, create, like you were saying, the website is so key that they can find you. Everybody's got to find you. All your social, you need to make sure that people can find you. You want to have in your profile. It's so key, because people will just have what they do and that's it, but not how to get hold of them. Find my website. You've really got to be smart about marketing.
That's a great point. Finding an easily see way of for people to know how to get a hold of you. Or if there's something that makes you stand out, this is a great example. I was working with this company, and we were looking at custom packaging. And so I was talking to a company that we got connected to through their 3PL, and their website was beautiful. So when I got on the call with them, I said, your website's beautiful. And he said, thank you. We just redid it. That's really helpful to know. And then I asked where they manufactured their boxes. And he goes, oh, well, we manufacture in the US. I said, oh, wow, that's really great to know. He goes, wow, we should probably make that more clear. I said, yeah, you should definitely make that more clear. Because then, again, looking at the price point of the box helps satisfy why the box price might be a little bit more than you could get overseas. It also helps me understand that they're an American-made company, like what we're talking about, if I want to shop local. So it's those little things. It's like, what makes you stand out, and really highlighting that. Again, if people are going to come into your business right now, make it super clear to them what to expect when they come there. There's a restaurant chain in San Francisco that does a really great job, both on social media, at their door, and even an email about talking about what their COVID protocols are. We're going to be taking your temperature when you get here, so that nobody is thrown off. You're going to have to wear a mask. Like this is what we're doing with our employees. I think restaurants have done a great job, or some restaurants during this pandemic. If an employee gets sick, talking about it, not hiding it. Yep. Hey, by the way, we're going to shut down for a couple of days. This is what happened. All of those things start to build trust. And then when we come out of this, you're going to keep going back to that company or that business because you trust them.
Yeah, they've communicated to you. It's just letting everybody know exactly where you're at right now. And I think it's really, really key to everybody's success down the road. And I know that a baby and a youngster, you're really busy, so I don't want to keep you too long. But and if I have investors, how do you tell a small business operator to handle their investors right now? Just communicate to them exactly where they're at. Over communicate.
I think
projection.
Also, I think so to your point, like if you have investors, investors are very different in how they engage. So that you'll know your investors, but they might be able to help you with projections. They might be able to help you with their money too, right? So they might be able to, if you bring them your financials and say, hey, I'm thinking about taking this loan, or I'm thinking about doing this. Can you help me look at this if I don't know how to do it myself, and project over the next couple of months where I need to be in order to hit these goals? So I think that's a huge thing. Rely on those people. They're the ones that are brilliant. If you have people like that in your, on your team, in your back pocket, go to them. Again, over communicate in a way that they can feel like that you're taking care of their money, just like you're taking care of yourself. And that's what they're there for. I think that people are really open and willing to sharing their knowledge right now, to kind of bring everybody up together. And so I would leverage that and tap into that as much as you can.
I'm seeing a lot of people on Instagram and Twitter, and these are big name people that have had huge success, and they're taking the time to take calls, take direct messages, and they're answering questions for people. Don't hesitate to reach out to those people. I mean, depending on your industry, find the people that have been highly successful, ask their opinion. They either won't respond, they'll say no, or they're going to help you.
And
it's a winning proposition.
Yeah, do it in authentic way. Come to the table with your own research, right? Again, it's like it's coming to the table and not just asking for a handout or saying, tell me. It's like, hey, I've done A, B, and C, and I'm still lost. Or I've done A, B, and C, and I've only seen this. Can you, what would your advice be? Right? Really showing them that you're doing the work. I think people are more receptive when you're coming at it from a place of, I've tried, I've done everything I can, but I still need help. I think if you're coming to the table with just help me, just tell me what to do. I don't want to do the work, do it for me. And so I think, and they're business people on both sides of that spectrum. So I think that's also being really authentic. But I agree. There's nothing you can lose by just reaching out to someone.
Yeah, I mean, be authentic with it, like you were saying, because I'll get people to reach out to me and they want to be a commercial real estate agent. They'll say, hey, what do I need to do to be a commercial real estate agent? And then I ask them a few questions. Where are you? Are you licensed yet? They'll respond with one answer, not the other. And I really need that to make it a clear communication with them, and I don't get a response back after that. And so really come to it with, heart and hand going, listen, I really need help. Ask me whatever you need to ask me to make an educated decision. And people like you that are out there doing this all day, every day, you need that data so you can make the right decision and really help these people. So,
and if you don't say you don't know the answer, to your point, don't just leave it blank, right? Don't just glaze over it. Say, I know this, but by the way, I don't know this, or I haven't done that. I haven't done that yet. And then that's also a great place for that person to know where to start.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, Julianna, thank you very much. I know that you're super busy, so I don't want to take up much more of your time.
Before I have to breastfeed the baby. I know you. Get her out of here.
Yeah, She tried to do that on the show here today, so we're going to let her go get at it.
But I'm just
It's
saying,
some other
that's what
thing.
we're all dealing with. If we're going to be honest about where everyone is, that's what we're all dealing with.
I know. It's exactly it. I completely understand. But I'm going to put Julianna's contact information down below in the video. Reach out to her. If you just have questions or if you have a business you need some advice with, she's there for you. Julianna, thank you so much for coming on today. Congratulations on the new baby. Folks, if you haven't done so, please do subscribe and make sure you hit that like button today, please. So, Julianna, thank you very much.
Thank you.